They're trying to program you into believing a certain thing that just doesn't mean that that's what it is. It's the allegory of the cave. You only believe what you see and what you know. Once your eyes are open to other things and you see other things, you go, oh shit, I didn't have access to this information before, and this changes everything.
Thank you for joining us on the Evolve Your Brand podcast. I'm your host, Aaliyah Merkes, and just want to give a huge shout out to Icon Industries. Shane, ×3. Steven, I know I'm going to say something embarrassing that you're going to put on social media that I don't want you to. Today, I'm so excited to have in studio Dan Fulkerson.
Thank you for having me.
From Bata Fulkerson.
Yep.
And Dan, there's no way to box you in. There's so many different directions we're going to go today.
Well, I'm here for it, man. I'm open book. So whatever you got, let's go. I'm excited to be on, and thank you for having me. It's humbling.
Oh, I appreciate you joining us, and you brought...
I brought Ted. Ted's one of many rescues. I collect French and English bulldogs that come into my life, and I try to find homes for most of them, but some of them stick, and Ted is one of those that is stuck with me, and he comes everywhere with me. He was rescued 3.5 years ago. And I mean, when I say comes everywhere, he's been to New York, Miami. He literally comes everywhere. He's part of my soul now. So
do I even need to ask dogs or cats?
No,
absolutely not.
No,
right?
I don't want to insult any cat people, right? But yeah, I mean, dogs all day long. Like that's my life.
Did you see that was?
I love it. And we got the brand. See, look,
I got the brand.
Look, and we both got it. So you got that, and I got this.
I'm in. Yeah. I mean, who better to have on the Evolve Your Brand podcast?
It's what I do. It's what I do. If you've been in my office, it doesn't hide itself.
You scream.
Yeah. my motto is Bulldogs everywhere. Okay, I mean, that's what we do.
You and I will bond on that because dogs. I might get a little slack for this. Dogs are over some people all day.
You won't get slack from me. I'm the guy that I feel bad because I'll walk into a room and there'll be a dog and I'll be on the ground hanging out with the dog before I even shake someone's hand, and I feel like an ass. But then I'm I'm sorry. I'm just that guy. That's who I am. It's always been me. Dogs have always been a huge part of my life, and they run me. And that's why, like I said, you come into my office, it's Bulldogs everywhere.
What is it? What is it that you love about dogs? Where does that passion come? Because you're not just I love dogs. You're fanatical, dogs everything, everything.
I mean,
seriously,
my brand, it's everything. It's you go to a Goals game, the Bulldog Zamboni, it's wrapped in the big bulldog. Dogs are, especially bulldogs now, but always dogs. I grew up with dogs. I've had dogs since I was a year old. I've always had dogs in my life, and there's just, look at them.
I know.
There's just a genuine, constant, unconditional love. You cannot have bad days with these guys in your life. They're no matter what you're going through, no matter what's going on, they're just there to make things better. And they're just so sweet, and they're vulnerable, and they need good people in their lives, and they need good people taking care of them. And I've seen the worst through rescue, that so many of them are mistreated. This guy was treated absolutely horribly for the first half of his life. He didn't deserve any of it. He deserved to be treated the way that he is now. And so my goal is to give him the best second half of his life possible. And I take a lot of pride in that. And, he deserves it because he's brought so much to my life. They all have.
What a love bug.
Oh,
look at him.
This is what he does. You said, you're dude, Dan rants, he'll fall asleep. I'm no, trust me. He'll be asleep in 10 minutes in here. This is what this dude does.
Job accomplished. Teddy's already asleep. I was going to take bets. He didn't even make it. I was going to say, Dan, how long do you think it's going to be
this dude's out
before Teddy passes out on us?
Sawing logs, man. 5 minutes in, done.
That's what we got to be more. We got to be more interesting to wake up to.
Trust me, with Ted, it won't matter.
Okay,
it doesn't
awesome.
matter.
No matter
take
what
it personally.
We say.
This is Ted. Yeah, this is what he does.
I did not know this about you, but when we were talking about before the episode, you said you grew up in Idaho. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Born in Chicago, but spent majority of my childhood, vast majority of my childhood in Boise, Eagle, like right outside of Boise, which was a really small farm town community. Now it's grown as the boom has hit Idaho. But yeah, I grew up in Eagle, Idaho. That's where I'm from. Eagle High School, class of 2003.
Nice. When did you leave Boise and come to California?
2003. Like,
got it. You just ran out. Boom.
Quick. Like it was, I love Idaho. And now like, as you get older, simple is so much more important and family is so much more important and life perspective is there. And so now like I yearn for Idaho way more than I used to. But when I was young, it was too small for me. It was too white for me. There was no culture. It was too much of a closed bubble and I needed something more. And so, I mean, I graduated and I was out and I went to Chico, up to Chico, Northern California. I went to Butte College, which is a community college up there, to try to get in-state tuition because I couldn't afford to go to like a state school, just didn't have that. And so was there for a year, wasn't my fit, again, too small for me, came down to San Diego, been in San Diego since.
Where'd you go to school?
So transferred from Butte to Mesa College.
Okay.
Did 2 years at Mesa to be able to get the in-state tuition. And then from Mesa went to San Diego State, finished San Diego State, did my bachelor's in business and marketing. And then from there stayed at State while I did my law degree. And I did my master's in business at San Diego State in the evenings while I was doing my law degree during the day at Cal Western. Yeah. So I did both of them. Aztec for sure.
Fellow alum.
Bro, I was at the
Let's
game. I was at the game opener last night. Yeah, I was there.
Oh, there you okay.
I was there for the W.
You know Eric Gilman.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I was working out with him and we're going to a state game. We gotta
let me know.
Say that absolutely done. I had no idea you were in Aztec.
100%.
Let's go.
Spent a lot of my life at San Diego State on that campus. Yeah, so I'm happy to.
I have to spend a lot of time at San Diego State too. It's just a long time ago and some of it I don't remember.
I remember those days as well. Yeah.
What's one biggest difference that you notice between Idaho and California right now that stands out to you?
People are different. I love San Diego. Don't get me wrong. So like people will take this offensively, but you go back and people are so much nicer back there.
Got it.
Like it's still like the community. You don't lock your doors. Like everyone looks out for each other. Neighbors are like your family. Like people are like looking out and going above and beyond for one another. It is bizarre. Like I have clients there now. So I'll go to clients and you walk in, they're like, hey, well, how about you come to our house? Most clients don't want to invite you into their home here. Like it's like their home there. They invite you into their house. They have breakfast cooked for you. Like I had a client make me a Teddy for President, like big old thing last week and sent it to the office. It's an Idaho client. Like I knew as soon as I got it, it was an Idaho client just because that's how they are. They go above and beyond to show appreciation. And there's just a different level of human in that place. And I don't know if it's small town community. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely a different vibe. And I love that.
What do you love about that?
I just think that we've lost that in society. I think that social media, the internet is taking that away where there isn't that like personal nature to a lot of relationships. And I think that there should be. I think that relationships, business relationships, all relationships should be personal. You should go above and beyond to find out about the other person, to care about the other person, to try to help make their life better, even outside of what you're helping them with on a business level. And I don't know what it is, like whether it's how fast society is or really what has kind of got us to where we're at, but I think that that's lacking. And I think that when we were growing up, it was a different time, that was there more. And maybe it's just the distractions that we have in our society now are more prevalent, but it's definitely noticeable.
How do you think we get it back?
I don't know. People ask me that question all the time. Like, do I have a positive outlook on where we're heading? I believe in humans. I believe that we are going to find a better way. But do I believe that we're heading for dark times in the like the short future compared to like looking out longer over the distance. Yeah. I just don't like the trend of society. There's a societal friction, and there's more hate than love. And there's more, I mean, you turn on the news and you see it, like there's more us against them and divide and conquer. And that's always been used over the years to manipulate the masses. And I just feel like we're falling victim to it more and more now than we had in years past.
What do you think the goal is with that approach?
Control. That's what it's always been.
Mm-hmm.
Governmental control, manipulation, being able to put things in place that allow governments and entities to control people easier. Like that's usually what it comes down to at a baseline. And so I think that when you get people that are fired up and fighting each other, they forget to look to the entities that are really the ones that are causing the issues. And they're so caught up in blaming each other and our team versus your team that they forget to look at who's shaking the ant jar. You know, and I tell that to people all the time, is like if someone shakes the ant jar and the ants are all fighting in the jar, the real question should be who's shaking the jar. And people just don't look at that.
You are.
I try to. I mean, they're the entities that are, you know, controlling and running policy and agenda in this world are playing 3D chess while we're all down here playing checkers. So it's hard to keep up with. And it, you know, I have a pretty good intuition for it, and I try to stay on the front line of it. I try to stay educated so I can kind of see what's coming. And I'm good at sniffing out things that are bullshit, but I mean, it's a changing game every day.
Yeah. And you have the confidence to speak up about it.
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty quiet about it because obviously like it can influence business. Like people can judge you from it. You can lose relationships. You can lose business. People are like, I don't want to do business with you. You have this opinion. I really started speaking up about it in 2020 when I had a bunch of friends who owned gyms in town. And when gyms got shut down and my friends were like, well, I'm going to keep my gym open. And then cops started coming to the gyms and arresting these people and giving them misdemeanor violations for running a business. And to me, that was where I snapped. And I just started talking, and I started talking on social media, and I started giving my opinions of it. And there were people that would call my office and tell me like that I'm killing people and that my, you know, like, and you're going to get that, but it's also like, I'm going to stand behind what I believe in, and life is short, and I'm going to speak my piece and speak my mind, and you don't have to agree with it. But that's the blessing of living in the United States of America. Like I should be able to speak my piece in my mind, and I should be able to give my opinions on something. You don't have to agree with it, but I have the right to say it. And so I've just kind of kept it rolling. And, you know, people in my life that are really close to me, like my law partner's one of them. He's like, bro, you need to like be careful and touch, you know, maybe hone this down a little bit. But then sure enough, we'll have people that come into the office and they're like, I've been following your Instagram for years. I love it. And I'm like, told you, Paul, told you. And I'm sure I've lost people, but you attract people that also appreciate it and respect it and can understand and see through it. And I've also had a lot of people that are close in my life that were like, hey, when I started following you, I thought you were crazy. And now I see it. And thank you so much for talking about it and opening up my eyes and enlightening me with what you were already seeing, because I didn't see it. And sometimes that's what it takes. Like I had people that woke me up to the reality of the world, and I will be internally grateful to those people because I see the world so differently now than I did before. And I guess I'm just trying to give that gift back. And I think the more people that see the world the way that it is, the better chance we have of, like I said, getting to a place where it's a better place. Like that's how we fix it, is waking people up, educating people, having people not just be a part of the manipulated scheme.
You gave me chills right there. So what did you learn about yourself? I mean, you said you want to awaken others.
Yeah.
With the gift that you received. So
it's funny how it started. Like I made a comment to someone, I don't know, 2018, 2017, something like that. I made a comment to someone about like the Bush family and like George Bush Sr. being like a good guy, or I can't remember. It was just general, something like that. And this guy that I was talking to, who's another attorney, was like, "Did you just say that George Bush Sr. was a good guy?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, better than like a lot of the presidents we've had." And he was like, "Bro, I got a book for you." And he gave me a book called Family of Secrets that was just like such a well-written book. I highly recommend it. And it just went through the whole family lineage and like everything, like the fact that George Bush was like George Bush Sr. was a secret CIA agent that was very likely heavily involved in the JFK assassination and was in Dallas the day that JFK was assassinated, even though he was interviewed later on and lied about where he was. And then they found pictures of him there, like just a lot of stuff. The fact that Prescott Bush, who was the father of George Bush Sr., was financing the Nazi Party and helping build up the Nazi Party in World War II, just things that you would never know in a real history book. And this is all sourced. People hear this and they're like, no, that's not true. Do some research. You'll find that it's all true. And once I started doing that, I was just like, oh shit, like what else have I been believing and thinking to be true that is completely not true? And that's when I just like started diving, and I just couldn't get enough of it. It was just like book after book after book, and asking people that knew more than me, like, hey, where can I find more information on this? And then getting a book, and then there would be sources in that book that I'd go pull those sources and dig into those. And it just started to all connect dots and paint pictures that I was like, I understand now how the world really works. Whereas before I was just part of that manipulated mass society that was just believing what I was taught in schools. And there's a reason why education is what it is. It's programming. Like they're trying to program you into believing a certain thing. That just doesn't mean that that's what it is. It's the allegory of the cave. You only believe what you see and what you know. Once your eyes are open to other things and you see other things, you go, oh shit, I didn't have access to this information before, and this changes everything. So that's kind of what got me started on my journey of digging, if you will.
And how have you become better as a person? What's shifted for you? Like, are you happier?
Yeah, if people are like, isn't that depressing? And I'm like I guess
I'm
like,
sorry to laugh, but that's actually kind of funny.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't
Like
that
people ask me
depressing?
that all the time. Like, isn't that depressing? I'm like, I guess in a way you could look at it like that. Like the government's not there to help you, that the government's not there to protect you, but it's also kind of liberating to realize like, this is on us. Like, I'm going to take care of my own life. Like I'm going to take care of my own family. I'm not going to rely on anyone else to help me. I'm not like going to be the victim that's like, hey, I need help. Like I went and got trained by a buddy of mine that's a Navy SEAL in home defense. Cause I'm like, I realized talking to cops and friends that they were like, hey, we don't have enough of us. If someone comes into your house, like you're on your own for a solid 15, 20 minutes. You better know how to protect yourself.
Was that Perry?
Yeah. Perry trained me for like 4 or 5 months.
Nice.
And I grew up around guns. I'm an Idaho kid, but I didn't know guns like Perry knows guns.
Oh, that's
I didn't know how to defend myself the way Perry taught me to defend myself. Like now I'm like, I mean,
bring it on.
Perry's got me like, I got like night vision goggles and shit, bro. Like, I'm like, you don't want to mess around. Like you don't come into my house. But yeah, like it's just liberating. Like okay, well, what do I need to do? So I'm always, self-sufficient. Like I'm lucky. I'm financially successful. Like I bought myself like a little piece of property out in the middle of nowhere. Like I got wells, I got fireplaces, I got water supply. I got all the things that I need.
You're living the life.
I'm good. Like I'm not worried about it. Like you shut off the world, I'll be fine. Like I'm ready. So there's a liberation to it as well. And it's also one of those things that I don't like to be blind. I don't like to be manipulated. I don't want to be in the dark. I don't want to be ignorantly blissful. I would rather know the truth and then adjust my reality around that.
Yeah. I think what resonates about what you just said is, I'm not sure if you follow Tom Bilyeu. He's like, if reality is that you're set up for failure and you know it, and you know everything you walk in the room, like you're going to fail. Everyone wants you to fail. Now what?
Yeah. I know. And
You know what I'm saying?
I 100% do. And like you're setting yourself up. And that's why like just being able to like, it's like the Idaho play, right? Like because I was on the front line, was able to like see where this was going, and where this was going is like, as California and our positions and stances, I was able to make moves in my life to mitigate those consequences, right? And as a result of that, thank God that those things didn't end up coming in fruition. And we've had court cases that now have come in and been like, you can't mandate this. Like, this is not okay. Thank God that the judicial system has actually caught up with it and gotten involved. But I've had great things that have come out of my life as a result. And that's just like life energy, and that's the way that it works. And so I think that just staying on your toes, being able to see, the forest through the trees is what they say. Like, I think that that's an important part of life.
Or what's one thing you appreciate about your brother? So I don't see him on as much.
So Paul?
Yes.
So it's so funny. So many people think Paul's like my blood brother. Paul is like one of my best friends in the world. I met Paul in law school. So Paul, not family, but is family. Like Paul is the best. I tell everyone this: pick your business partner like you're picking your spouse. It's one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. You pick a bad business partner, good luck to you. He was the best business partner that I could ever pick in my entire life. Like he is the perfect opposite of me.
Get out.
Oh yeah. Like we've never had an argument. The only time we've had a disagreement was over how many dogs I was allowed to bring to the office. Like that's the only time we've ever had any type of disagreement. He knows that I am not going to be in the office all day. I'm going to be out in the world. I'm going to be doing podcasts. Thank you for inviting me. I'm going to be doing stuff like this. I'm going to be at networking events. I'm going to be sitting on 6 charity boards. That is what I do. Ooh. He is at the office every single day. He grinds his ass off. He works his ass off. He makes sure the team's good. He makes sure that everyone's, has what they need. He makes sure that that is what Paul does. It was to the point where when we started the firm, we wouldn't talk, he would try to bring something up to me about oh, well, would you think I should do this? And I'm like, don't talk to me. This is you. You don't need to run anything by me. That's you. This is me. This is how we're going to build this thing. Is you deal with what you deal with and do it great. I'm going to deal with what I deal with, and I'm going to do it great. And it's been the perfect match. And I would never want to build what we've built with anyone other than Paul. He is just an amazing person. When you meet him, you meet him, and what I first thought, I was like, there's no way you're this nice. This is bullshit. This is fake. You're not, no one is this thoughtful. No one is this kind. No one is this good of a human. He is. It's just how he is. He's Lebanese. I'm a white kid from Idaho. I didn't have.
Oh, that's funny. He's Lebanese.
Oh yeah. I didn't have any.
That's how are these guys?
Oh yeah, bro. He invited me to in law school to his parents were cooking. His mom's making grape leaves. I look at him. I'm like,
grape leaves.
Yeah. I'm I was just scared. They'd go get Lebanese food. Oh. He tells this joke to everyone. They'd go get Lebanese food, and I'd be like, he'd be like, do you want anything? I'd be like, give me some white rice and soy sauce. That's how white I am. I'm I don't know.
Damn, you're a white man.
Oh, bad. Now
you're way white.
Now I love it. Some of my favorite food on earth.
Seriously, right? Bro. Mediterranean. I mean, you go there. Okay.
So good.
All right. Okay.
But I didn't, that's why I didn't have culture. I only knew the bubble that I knew. And Paul is literally one of my best friends. I consider him family. I'm so lucky to have him in my life.
So what you love about him is he's just the nicest person.
Nicest person, but lets me be me. I'm crazy. I do.
How crazy are you?
I mean, have you been to my office?
No.
I got a Harley Davidson painted in Bulldogs that is inside of a wall in my office.
Okay.
I mean, you walk into the office and you're like, bro, what? It is different. And he's just let me be me. We bought the office building because I had a dream of flying into San Diego and seeing that building. And in the dream, there was a huge LED light up Bulldog on the top of the building, like a bat symbol, but a Bulldog. And I woke up the next day and called a commercial broker and was like, bro, I'm going to buy this building. Done. And he was like, it's owned by a school system or California school system. They're never going to sell it to you. 6 months later, it got listed on the market with that guy's firm that I had called, and all the stars aligned, and we bought the building. First thing I did was put a huge 8-foot tall LED light up Bulldog on the top, like what I saw in my dream. Paul's just Paul's down. Like he lets me use the Bulldogs. He doesn't have a Bulldog. He lets me use the Bulldogs as a mascot and everything. Like when we started the firm, I sent him a text like, hey, can we use we're sending like scales of justice back and forth to each other, stupid shit. And I'm like, can we just go with the Bulldog? He's like, sure, I love it. Like he just lets me be me. And he also like, he is so okay not taking the backseat because we could never build what we built without Paul, but with me being the face and front and center, where so many people would have an insecurity over that. And I screw up sometimes. I'll be like, my firm, or when you come into my office, if he did that, that would bother me. Like my ego would probably get hurt by that, right? Because I'm just more insecure, I guess you would say, and stuff like that. It doesn't even faze Paul. He doesn't give two shits.
They don't care.
He doesn't give two shits. He's just like, bro, do you keep helping us build this thing? Like, I love you to death. I know how you are. You're an idiot. Let's go. And like that, it's amazing. Like it is, I get to work every day with one of my best friends, and that's such a blessing.
And it's not, when I say here, just listening, just getting to know you better and better. I think what I'm appreciative about is your relationships, not your success.
It's more important than the money.
Right?
It's more important than the money. Like,
okay, we were talking about money. Why don't you break down like we were talking about? You're like, especially for young entrepreneurs, there's a lot of shit on social media about how glorious it is to be an entrepreneur. Dan, how glorious is it? Like how hard did you work to actually enjoy the glory?
People don't see the back end. Like people don't understand like the bullshit. People don't understand how much stress is involved. People don't understand how many like moving parts there is and how many fires there are constantly that you're putting out. Money is great. I'm very, very lucky that I've been as financially successful as I am, but I know this to be the truth. And I had an argument over it with a friend the other day who's on the come up. And he's like, bro, you can't tell me money doesn't matter. Money will make you happy. And I'm like, a certain amount of money will. Right? Like to get to a certain point, like let's say in San Diego, let's use an arbitrary number. Once you're making $250,000, $300,000 a year and you can pay for all the necessities, you can go to dinner at the places you want to go. You're not worried about paying your bills. You can live a comfortable life. After that point, it doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
Up until that point, I'm not going to argue with you. It will take a lot of stress away. There's a lot of financial arguments in relationships. If you're like worried about how to pay bills and just how to live life, I get it. And the struggle is real. And I lived there for a very long time. I was a valet at Stingery nightclub, putting myself through school for 9 years, living on ramen noodle, living in a house with 6 people, sharing rooms. Like I've done that. Like I know that life. So I'm not saying the struggle is not real, but what I am saying is I've also seen the other side where I owned stupid cars and had Ferraris and had all this stuff before I was 30 years old, and I wasn't happy. And it didn't change me, and it didn't change my life to where I'm like, oh my God, look at all this cool stuff. I was empty inside. I was not fulfilled. And I realized in those moments that money is not going to make you happy on the long term. It will not fulfill you. Once it meets those basic needs and those basic life things where you're not having to stress out every month over them, after that, it's the Steve Jobs letter, man.
Yeah.
Like it should be used as a tool, but your health, your relationships, what you're doing with your life, your purpose, that should be what you're focusing on, not how can I make another $1 million? Because that shit is not going to end well for you. Like it's not going to be fulfilling. I am truly a happy human because I built my life around all the things I love and the people that I love. And that is how I build my life. And every decision I make, that's how I look at it now. Not as much of a money decision as it is this going to bring me fulfillment? Is this going to bring me peace? Is this going to bring me joy? That's how I'm looking at my life now. It's just way more important to me.
And you live it.
Yeah, I try
every day.
I try to. Like I have missed falls, I've missed steps. I still
no one's perfect.
No one's perfect. And I still have like the insecurity that it'll all get taken away or that I'll lose it all. And I still feel like I don't have a safety net. And I still I struggled for a long time, and that was really hard. And so like I still get caught up in that, but I really try to not live like that.
How do you recalibrate when you get into those like The doubt. That's funny. That's interesting. It's not funny. It's interesting to hear you say that. Like, how do you get yourself out of the funk when you know you're like, whoa, wait a minute.
I don't really, like, to be honest with you.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I don't. Like, I still wake up every day like it could all be gone. Like I'll have weeks like where I'm like, oh, we only signed up 4 cases this week. Like, oh shit, like we're gonna be broke next week. Like, and Paul's like, bro, like, what are you talking about? Like, we're good. But for me, that's what gets me up every day. That's where I'm like, 5 a.m., let's go. Like, I got to put in work. Like, that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me motivated. That's what keeps me showing up, is like that. So I'm grateful for that. Like, it's a blessing at a point. Is it healthy? I don't know. Like, judge as you will. Like, is there anxiety that comes with it? Absolutely. But it keeps me rolling. Like, I don't like hit a big case where I'm like, oh shit, we hit a big one, I'm going to take a day off. I'm like, let's go. We're back. Like, high five, Paul. Great job. Proud of you. Let's go.
Where's your competitive spirit come from?
I don't know. I like to win. I like to be the best. I've always been a basketball player. I've always loved sports. Like, I've gotten away from watching sports in later days. Like, I like live sporting events, but I don't watch a whole lot of TV, and I don't watch a whole lot of sports on TV, but I love playing. I still play in a basketball league, an old man league. Like, we're literally just playing to sweat, but it's a lot of fun. Still play with friends every Saturday morning in PB. Like, I love that competitive drive, but I also love the work ethic aspect of, like, I know I'll outwork you. Yeah. Like, that's something I can control. No outside factors. You know, there's a lot of different, variables in life, but I can control how hard I work. And I've always known, like, if I need to, I'll outwork you. And that's why, like, going through law school as a valet, I'd be sitting there like with my flashcards at the valet stand, and people would come up and like, hey, Tiger, hey, Chief. Like, no one would know my name. And be like, what are you studying for? I'm going to law school. Like, oh, good luck. Like, no one knew. I already knew. Like, I knew where I'd be. Like, I knew what I was going to do because I knew how hard I was willing to work to do it. And it was the same thing when we bought a Fulkerson. It was like, oh, like, that's like, you guys are going to open your own firm. I already knew where we were going to be. I already knew how successful it was going to be. And people could see that as maybe cocky or arrogance. I saw it as just confidence. And I already, in my mind's eye, knew what was going to happen because I knew how hard we would both work to make sure that it would happen. And so I'm not surprised that we've been able to grow as, in 7.5 years, go from 2 of us to 30 plus of us. Like, that's not surprising to me. Some of it's surprising. Like, I walk into the office still and it's like, I have to pinch myself because I'm like, this is ours. This is crazy. But a lot of it, I'm like, I knew it was coming. Like, I saw it. And I don't mean that to be arrogant, but I saw it in my mind before it ever happened.
If we would have done this podcast, I would say 2 years ago, that I would have taken that as maybe a little bit of arrogance. Now that I've really dived into myself this past like 12 months, it's been crazy. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Because you're like, there's no doubt. Like, when I talk to people that have achieved their version of success in life, there was never any doubt. They're just like, I'm just not going to stop until
it happens.
That's it. Yeah. That was it. Like, I'm like, are you kidding me?
Those are the people you bet on. Like, we were talking about Fenster before. Like, Jeff's one of those people. Like, he'll die before he loses. Like, that's why I'd bet on anything that Jeff's involved in, because he's built that way. Like, it's not cocky or arrogant, but when he had one Everbowl store, he already knew what he was going to grow. Like, and people would be like, you're crazy. I'm not crazy. It's just Jeff. He's built different.
Have you ever shared that story on a podcast?
Which story?
The Jeff, the number one.
My life regret?
No. What is that's your Gary V moment when he passed up on Uber?
I mean, it kind of is.
It is. Do you want to tell your version?
Yeah, I mean, every time I bring it up,
Teddy.
Every time I bring it up, I think Jeff gets embarrassed and he's like, because he knows.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
Not that it's like he's embarrassed for me, I feel like, because he's like, he knows it was a miss, but it's just the truth. Like, I had the opportunity. He invited me to invest in Everbowl when he had one store, and I met him at the Scripps Ranch store, which was his first store. Right. And was going to give him $100,000, which would have been millions and millions of dollars and would have been great. And I just invested in a coconut lubricant company, right? Like I was investing in all sorts of like things. Like I was throwing money around and I didn't do it. And I know the reason why I didn't do it. It's still a stupid reason, but the reason why I didn't do it is because he had the store. It was great. Concept was great. I loved it. Everbowl, if you haven't had one, go try one. They're fantastic. Fantastic product. Jeff hit it at home run. But he was pitching me on this, like, he was like, I want to build this granola bowl. And I'm going to do a granola bowl and the Everbowl is going to go inside, or the Everbowl is going to go inside the granola bowl. And I think I can get the granola bowl into Costco and into stores. And I think that there's really, and I'm like, bro, I think that if you're going to build a chain of Everbowls, build a chain of Everbowls. If you're going to build a granola bowl, build a granola bowl. But I don't know if you can do both at the same time.
Got it. Okay.
And that's why I passed. I didn't know Jeff well enough at the time. That dude's a monster. He wants to build a granola bowl. Let him build a granola bowl because he'll also open 400 stores at the same time. Like that I know Fenster now on a much deeper level. And I know that when he puts his mind to something, he will get it done. He will never quit. He will make sure that that is something that he fulfills. And it's a big life regret on a business level. It's not a life regret on a personal level because Jeff's now a really good friend of mine. I love him to death. I told him, if you ever give me an opportunity to invest in you again, you let me know. Tell me where to wire the money. Tell me how much. I don't need to see anything else. You don't even need to tell me what it is. And I'm sending you my cash. And he's since given me that opportunity. And that's exactly what I did. He's like, look at it, bro. Look at it. I'm sending it over to you. Look at the deck. I'm like, I don't even need to open it, Jeff. I don't need to see it. All I need to know is that you're giving me the opportunity. I'm in. Here's my money. So it's personally, it's been a very fulfilling thing. Jeff's come to Idaho with me. Jeff's met my 91-year-old grandmother. Jeff's met my family. Like Jeff is just a good human all the way around. And I'm so lucky that I get to call him a friend and have him on my corner. And I get to call him and bounce, not business stuff off of him. I call him bounce life shit off Jeff. Yeah. Like I call him bounce like family shit off Jeff. Yeah. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I like talking to Jeff about because he's such a good man that his perspective means a lot to me. I tell everyone about on the business level, dude's built different. Like I give him all the kudos in the world there, but how he is as a human, how he is as a husband, how he is as a father is something that I respect a lot. And
it matters so much more to you. It's crazy.
I think that shit means more than the money. Shit, like that's like how you live is way more important than your bank account at the end of the day.
Yeah. The breakthrough is how you do one thing, how you do everything. Now I've taken that and said, how you live every day is how you live life.
And how you treat people.
Ooh.
How you treat people. Like, I think that's one of the big takeaways from being a valet. I had people that treated me like shit. Like you're just a valet. I try to treat everyone, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, the exact same. I don't care if you are a professional athlete. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. I don't care if you're a janitor that's cleaning stuff up. Treat everyone with respect. Treat everyone with kindness. Treat everyone with love. That is how the world it should be. That is how you should live. And so many people miss that. They look at like your job or your financial success, and now you're going to like kiss someone's ass. I've just never played that game. Like that's just not how it works to me. If you're a nice person, I have respect for you. If you're an asshole, I don't care what you do.
You know, and that's fascinating that you bring that up because I'll reach out to people of influence and I never take it personal. Like you don't take shit personal. No. Like people are busy, especially people that are busy and successful in life. They're busy. Yeah. Don't take it personal. That's on you. Yeah. Be respectful. Like you and I went back and forth and you were so cordial. I'm like, hey, can we do it online? And I said, no, we got to do it in-house. And what did you do? You're like, done. I'm like, Dan is pretty much exactly who you would expect him to be. Like, you're just nice and kind.
Yeah. And I don't want anyone to be like, you change based on the room you walk in. Or for them to see me like on social media or on Instagram and then they come into my office and they're like, why are you so different? Like, I want to always be who I am. I want to be no facade. I want to be no bullshit. I want people to just know that it's me. And that's something that I take a lot of pride in.
When people meet you, you brought this up and about social media. Have you met people? What are your thoughts when you see someone on social media? You meet them in person and they're different. How do you deal with that, or how do you process?
I mean, I'm not going to judge. Like everyone,
of course not.
Everyone like lives how everyone lives. Like, and you know, like some people like struggle with insecurities and they feel like they have to play some sort of role that they're not on social media.
Mhm.
I just don't think that that's like a game that's going to end well, because I think that it's going to eventually catch up with you. Like, facade is going to eventually be exposed. Like, be who you are. Like, just own yourself. Like, own who you are. And I think people are attracted to that. I really do. I think genuineness is something that's lacking in society. And so I think if you can be genuine, people are going to be attracted to that. I always tell the story, and I've told it on a couple podcasts, of this is how I dress. Like, this is how I go to work. This is how I meet with people. And people are like, you're not in a suit? I'm like, bro, that's not me.
Yes.
Like, I'm not a suit and tie guy. Like, I got a freaking Bulldog medallion on my neck that a friend gifted me.
You see what I wore for you?
Yeah. And I'm like, because it's you. It's you. Like, and life's short. And I was insecure about it for a while, and I'd have clients come in and I'm like, oh shit, like, do I go change my shoes?
Okay.
Like, I'm wearing my J's.
Yeah.
And then I had like this older guy come in. He was like 80 years old. He came in and he was like, hey, I'm not signing up with you. I'm here because my son asked me to meet with you. So out of respect for my son, I'm meeting with you, but I'm not signing up with you. I got this other guy I'm signing up with. He had a bad brain injury. It was, bad case. And I'm like, cool, no worries. I'm dressed like this. And we just sat there and like chopped it up on life for like an hour. Not talking about his case, just talking about life. Like, just me, him, society, everything. And like an hour into this conversation, dude's like, go get me your paperwork. I'm not going anywhere. It's like, I like you a lot, man. And I was just like, if you're just yourself, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's all you have to be. Just be yourself. And you're going to attract the right people into your life. Not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's supposed to like you. It's not how life works. You shouldn't be the person that's trying to have every person like you. That's some fake shit. Just be you. And that's enough. And in that moment, I just was like, I'm owning it. Like, I'm running at it full speed. I'm owning it. The rest is falling into place.
Dan, the biggest compliment I could give someone, and I think I share with you, doing this, like sitting in this seat, is freaking crazy, man. It's crazy how much you learn. Yeah. It's crazy how much you learn. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah. I think the biggest respect I can give to someone like you, people that are ROI, return on impact in life, is like introduce you to my kids.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I'm going to bring them to your law office just so they can walk in your office. Hey, he kicked ass for 9 fucking years to get this. Yeah. It didn't happen by coincidence, going through the cards. And that concerns me. I want to talk about youth. Like, I have a question for you. Yeah. Do you deal with a lot of youth?
A lot.
Okay.
A lot.
What do you think we're setting up, like parents, do you think we're setting up our future for success? Like, what do we need to do from your point of view? Because I'm worried about my kids, like them understanding how hard life is. They're entitled.
There is an entitlement epidemic amongst youth where they think things come easy and things come quick, and they don't understand how much work goes into life.
Right.
Life is hard. That's the reality of it. Life is not supposed to be easy. There's going to be a lot of challenges and a lot of struggles and a lot of shit to overcome. And if you think that life's going to just hand you back like the best cards in a year, that's not how it works. And you're setting yourself up for depression. You're setting yourself up for failure. And unfortunately, social media has been a big impact on our youth. And so I really think perspective is everything, right? And what I always tell young people, and what I have always done personally that's helped me, is getting back involved with the community in nonprofit settings and helping people that are struggling through life. Like, perfect example, Friends for Scott. It's a organization that I've been a part of for years that helps kids that have terminal cancer. And we put on a prom for them every single year. And that organization has changed my entire life because you cannot have a bad day after you talk to a parent whose 14-year-old is going to pass away in the next year or two, and they know it. Like, there are no bad days in this life. Like, every day is a gift. And once you've seen that, and I've gotten close with these families and close with these parents and been at the funerals, and all of our dumb shit and all of our like stuff that we worry about doesn't really matter. And those kind of things put life back into perspective. And working with foster youth, seeing what they've gone through, seeing the struggle that they've overcome, seeing what are wins to them compared to what most people think are wins. It just puts life back into perspective and makes you grateful. And I think being grateful and being appreciative is so important to teach young people, because so many young people have this expectation mentality and this entitlement mentality, when really you should just be grateful, just be appreciative, just be thankful for what you have, and know the importance behind working hard and why that is something that has to be a present part of your life every day.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that kids are missing out, unfortunately. And so,
Dan, and I think you had talked about you were part of 7 Philanthropies, and since I've watched you, I mean, I followed you for a long time, and you're involved in so many, like, to be able to juggle all those, that's where I think inspiration comes in, because it's made me think, like, how do I give back more? What do I do? And I think a lot of the times our actions speak way louder than our fucking words.
For sure. And it's not easy. Like, I started a business networking event called Professionals with Purpose, and we meet every single Wednesday at my office, and it's just different professionals, different, professions. And we do a quarterly fundraiser for a local nonprofit. It's great. It's awesome. It's also a networking group. So businesses grow. You're helping each other out. People run into problems. I had that today, 7:30 a.m. after the gym. So I'm at my office, 7:30 a.m. for Professionals with Purpose, roll into the day, have a couple meetings, come here, get to meet with you. It's a great break. Go back to the office. I'll have more meetings this afternoon, get more stuff at the office done. 6:00 tonight, I have a board meeting at my office that'll go from 6:00 till 8:30 for an organization called Positive Movement that I helped start. Positive Movement is an organization that myself and 4 friends started, that we adopt local schools that have the highest homeless rates. So we started with Bell Middle School. Out of the 800 kids at Bell, there's 175 homeless kids. That stat alone is insane. But we've come in and we've plugged the gaps and do teacher appreciation events, school supplies. Tomorrow I'll be out at, now we have 4 other schools. One of them is Knox Middle School. I'll be out at Knox in the community around Knox. We're donating all the turkeys to all the families around Knox Middle School because they can't afford to have turkeys for Thanksgiving. So my office and Positive Movement threw in all the money, bought hundreds of turkeys. We're going to be giving those out to the community. So that's what my day is, like from 7:30 in the morning till 8:00 at night. And then I get to go home. It is not an easy juggle. It is not an easy grind. It can wear on you. It can be tiring, but it is the most rewarding shit ever. And that is the energy that I want to put out into the world, because that is the energy that comes back into my life. And I've met some of the best people and have some of the best relationships and closest friendships from these organizations, from just saying yes. When I'm like, am I too busy? Screw it. Yes, I'll do it. And doors always open and opportunities always open. And it's why I think that I've been as successful as I have been. And so, yeah, I sit on 6 different charity boards. Bought a Fulkerson helps out over 20 different nonprofits every single month. Like, it's something that we're a big part of, but it's my life. Like, that's the sweet shit. Like, that's the coolest thing, is like, we built a dog park in Little Italy, for God's sakes. Like, we have the Bada Fulkerson Little Italy dog park because Little Italy didn't have a dog park. Dogs run my life, so we helped build the dog park. Like,
let's
go. To be able to go to Little Italy and take my kids to the dog park, and there's Bada Fulkerson, and all of my kids have signs on the dog park. So like, Teddy's running around like he owns the shit, because he does own the shit.
Let's go.
His pictures on the wall. Like, that's more than money. Like, that's more than any, like, to me, like, that's where it's at. Like, that's the stuff that I just am like, I love it. I love it.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
I would have said to you, Dan, literally dog park mural. What would you have said?
I was like, you're high. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like like, that's the beauty of momentum. Like, that's the beauty of like just everyday grind. Right. And everyone talks about it. Like, Spencer talks about it all the time. It's like getting 1% better every day, just making sure that you're getting better every single day. Because if you look too far out over your skis, you're going to get yourself into trouble. But I also I believe it's like a 50-50 ratio. Like, it's everyday grind, focusing on checking the boxes, focusing on getting all this stuff done every day. But also, there is a big part of visualization and manifestation And I always am constantly thinking about what's my life going to look like in 5 years? What's my life going to look like in 10 years? Like, and really like seeing it, like visualizing what it's going to look like, how it's going to look, what's my day-to-day going to be. And I think that there is a power to that as well. Writing down your goals. I tell everyone this around this time of the year because New Year's is coming up. No one does it. Like, write down your goals. Write down your goals for the year. Write down your goals for 5 years. Write down your goals for 10 years. Write them down. Go through them. Look at them multiple times throughout the year. Why? Because I've been doing this shit for years, and I go back on the stuff that I've written and I'm checking boxes.
Let's go.
I'm checking boxes on shit that I didn't know, like that people would have been like, you're not going to do that. You're not going to. If you put it into the world and you speak that energy into the world, there's a power to that. And you have to be the one that does that. It's not going to do it for you. And there is work behind it, but you have to be able to see it before it happens. And so I think that there's the day-to-day and there's also the, the visualization for the future.
Are you a vision board guy?
I don't vision board.
Okay.
I journal.
Hey, it's
I journal.
It's literally same purpose.
Yeah, I'm bullet points.
Yeah.
I'm bullet points. Binders and folders of bullet points.
One of these days you're gonna have to bring your journal that day and we'll go through.
Bro,
what does Dan write down on his journal?
I'll bring you. It's framed in my living room of my house. Shit, still messes with me like on a different level. When I was in, I think it's 8th grade. When I was in 8th grade, we had an assignment, and the assignment was write a letter to your best friend that was your best friend in 8th grade. But the premise of the letter is you haven't seen him since you've graduated from high school and you're 30 years old, and write the letter explaining to them where your life is and what you've done between 18 and 30, right? I didn't know I had this letter. I was having like a shitty day at work. Like things just weren't going well. I went to the house. I was like reorganizing stuff, and I was going through boxes because I was like, I'm just going to like get these boxes out of here. And I found this folder that had all like my old homework assignments in it. So I'm like flipping through it, like looking at them, just like dying laughing at the shit. And I come to this letter and I read this letter. In this letter, I'm in Eagle, Idaho. Okay. Never been to San Diego. Okay. Never visited San Diego at the time. Eagle, Idaho farm kid. And I read this letter and it's framed in my living room. I'll send you a copy of it because you can't even make this shit up. And it is literally my life today. It is, hey, Brandon, who's still one of my best friends. I'm living in San Diego. I started my own law firm. It's one of the biggest law firms in the city. I bought a house with an ocean view, like still not married, like called that on, like just like all these things, right? In this letter. And so the letter itself is crazy. And I go to it and I look at the top and it's addressed San Diego, California. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how did I know that I was going to be in, when I'm in 8th grade, I've never even been here, that I'm going to be in San Diego. So this is awesome. I love it. Frame the letter, put it in a frame. I go on another podcast like 2 years ago, Kevin Feely, great guy.
Oh, I know Kevin. Yeah.
I go on Kevin's podcast and I tell this story. I'm like, I manifested my life. Like I wrote this letter and he's like, send me a copy of it. Cause he's like, I think he thought it was bullshit. So I sent him a copy of it and he calls me like, and I'm going to answer my phone. He calls me like 3 times. So I finally answer. I'm like, what's up? He's like, bro, have you fucking checked that address? And I'm like, it's a made up address, Kevin. Like I made it up in 8th grade. Like I didn't it was like something like 446 Ocean View Ave, San Diego, California.
It's not a real location.
Bro, he goes, put that shit in Google right now.
And what happened?
Bro, it is a 1/4 mile from my house and my office.
No fucking way.
1/4 mile from my house and my office in Mission Hills. And I'm like, I get goosebumps talking about it right now. I'm like, what the what? Like life energy is fucking crazy, bro. Like I don't understand it. I don't get it all. Like I don't understand how it all works, but what the fuck?
I believe in that. I've been imagining this conversation for over a year because it's one of those, like, I 100% agree. Like you never win the risk you're not willing to take.
Yeah.
You're never going to win the risk you're not willing to take. To hear that story, you're fucking 14.
Bro, crazy.
That's insane.
Bro, I sent it to Brandon right after I got off the phone with Kevin. I was like, bro, Google this shit. And he called me. He's like, what the fuck? I'm like, I know. I'm like, the letter itself is crazy.
But what's the next letter? Have you written one?
Yeah.
Next time you come, we're gonna write a letter out.
Literally.
What's it gonna look like in 5 years?
To your 60-year-old self on what the next 20 years of your life look like. Right? Like, bro, it's great. There is a power to putting it down on paper. There is a power to putting it down and letting the universe do its thing.
Yeah, and Dan, I want to be conscious of your time. I definitely want to have you back. And before I always finish off an episode, like, who are you appreciative of? Who's grateful? Who makes Dan's life better every day? Who brings life besides Paul? Who?
So many people. My mom's like the most angelic person. Like, my mom is like, just understand who my mom is. She runs a stroke program. She lives for other people. Like, I'll have friends that have mothers, fathers, family members that have strokes. I'm like, hey, let me connect you with my mom. They're like, why did your mom? I'm like, she runs a stroke program. Just trust me. Like, we've talked to plenty of specialists. They'll talk to my mom. They'll call me like in tears. Like, she's an angel. Like, she gave, my mom's just that person. She lives for everyone else but herself. She's amazing. I've been lucky enough. I met like the woman of my dreams. She's absolutely fantastic. Like, I'm in love more than I would ever thought I could be in love. Like I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for that relationship. Like, she's absolutely perfect. And that's something that's, has given me a different depth than I ever had in my life. I have amazing friends. I still have all my friends, like my core group of friends from growing up in Idaho. Like, we do a boys trip every single year, and they're still my best friends. I still have my friend from when I was 3 years old, Adam Norseth in Idaho, that we've grown up with. And I see him every time I go back to Boise, and his kids are friends with my nieces, and he's still my brother. Like, I'm so fortunate to be surrounded by incredible people. And that's why when you say the relationships are more important than the money, abso-fucking-lutely. It's not even close. It's not even a close tie. It's not even like I'm so lucky to have the people in my life that I have in my life.
And I'm sure they would say the same about you.
I'd hope so.
Well, you earn it every day, right? Yeah, that's what it's all about. Like, you earn that respect. And Dan, I can't thank you enough, like, for coming on. I don't like to set expectations because you never know, like, how things go. And Teddy, we're gonna interview you. I would love to have you back
for sure.
We ran out of time, and this is just the beginning.
Like, I love to do. I love having conversations with good people. I love what you're doing here. Like, I really do. Like, I think that more of this is important, like spreading good energy, talking to people, talking about real life things is really, really critical today. So I'd be happy to come back on.
Yeah, because Dan, you know what? I want to highlight, it's funny that you say that. The goal of this podcast isn't about brand. It's about fucking people. 100%. It's about people like yourselves that are willing to share their successes. And that's what's blown me away. People that worked as hard as you do, that have the insight, you're willing to, like, go out of your way when people show eagerness and a desire to want to be better and make others better.
Because most people that have been successful, that's how they feel. They want to help other people because people helped me to get to where I am. And I also know, like, that's how the world gets better. That's how the world gets better. Because if you're a happy person and you're living the right way, you're spreading happiness. If you're a miserable person and your misery spreads, and you treat other people not ways that are going to help society move forward the right way.
Can you see why he's on? Dan Fulkerson.
Thank you.
One of the best people in San Diego. Definitely appreciate having him on. And we appreciate all of you. So drop a comment, go follow Dan and his whole entire team. And what can I say? It's so much more than attorney. It's all about people. It's all about relationships, and that's what they do in the community. Not only are they having success, they're making sure they go above and beyond to make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, and I say on every podcast, if anyone has questions, reach out to me anytime. I am happy to help. I'm happy to have you come into the office. I'm happy to meet with you. Instagram handles, Bulldog Lawyer or Dan Fulkerson. Dan Fulkerson's a little bit more politically motivated than the Bulldog Lawyer. that's my warning. But yeah, reach out anytime. Like, you want a good book, stop by my office. I'll hook you up with a great book that, you know, might change your life. You never know. So always here to help.
And support local. Let's go. Dan Fulkerson.